So today I was sitting up here browsing the World Wide Web, and I'm going across story after story, and I started to realize something that caught my attention. It's a very popular TikTok / Instagram person who makes videos with his son, and they're absolutely hilarious. They just recreate scenes from movies, and they get really into it, and it's so cute and adorable, and it's a father and son moment. And it got me to thinking about the people out there who have father to child moments. There's a child somewhere, some not right now, who is not going to have the opportunity to talk to their mother, their father, their brother, their sister, their grandmother, someone they love, because they made a decision that they have to live with. I'm asking you to not make a decision that we have to live with. Make a decision that you can live with. Make a decision that shows your ultimate power, that shows your strength. That father is not taking his own life. Instead, he has cancer to be the reason as his life is coming to an end. Colon cancer, to be exact. The same thing that took Chadwick Boseman up out of here, that took John Singleton out of here, and a host of other great people that were loved and cared about out of here. That father didn't have a choice, but you do. You have a choice to make a decision, to live, to fight, to keep pushing, to put a foot in front of the other. And all you got to do is simply make a phone call at 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. And if for some reason you just don't feel comfortable talking to them, maybe you just need somebody just to hear you. Well, guess what? You have an actual soldier in this war, because I will go to war with you. Just simply shoot me a message. All I need to hear is a few simple words of, we need to talk. Nothing else, nothing more. And I will make myself more than available to you so we can fight this together. Because whether you know it or not, I would rather hear from you than about you. So before you make a decision that I have to live with, that the people who care about have to live with, make one that you can live with. Now let's talk football. What's going on, Pride Nation, and welcome back to another Field Review podcast show. And you asked for it over and over and over and over and over for me to get this man on. So I harassed him over and over and over and over to get him on here. And he finally said yes. Now, I want you to know, good people, that this is your fault, okay? You brought this great tandem of brains together to have a conversation about our Detroit Lions, and I was more than happy to indulge it. So, with that being said, let me welcome my guest, Mr. Jackson, Kruger Sports. What up, though? Oh, you still muted, Jackson. You still muted.
Okay, I didn't realize I had to do the unmuting part there. Gotcha.
I know it sucks,
yeah. All right. Off to a great start here, Luke.
All right. Listen, it happens.
Yeah.
If anything, it's letting the people know that we're gonna have a little fun today, because we definitely have some things to talk about, some things that we agree on, and some things we disagree on.
Yeah, I think just to let the people know, immediately after coming on, there's a little backstage thing. Luke very ready to talk Kyle Hamilton and disagreeing with my take of not being too high on him.
Yeah. You not only are you not high on him, I feel like you cheated the homie. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I feel like you cheated him, but we're gonna definitely get into it. Let me do a quick roll call, see who's in the building with us. It says, Dr. Detroit says, very cool. Jackson is one of the staples I listen to, like most of his opinions and views. Epic, Luke. Hey, believe it or not, I believe when Jackson, I believe you was around like a couple thousand when I first came on with you,
something like that.
And then it just started gaining traction. And then you making some more Lions videos, and I just kept posting every single Lions video to get people over there. And then before I knew it, Jackson was already at like 100,000. I was like, hell yes. And then it was out, and then it just kept growing. I was like, hell yes. So I'm waiting on him to hit 1 million. I don't think people realize, but from the beginning, I've been on your side, and you've had a number of people come on and talk to you, like the Hook Cam, and a host of other people. So we always been in touch, and you were just saying how it's been like a little bit over a year since we last did anything. So I get it. But to the people who don't know, this ain't gonna be what y'all think it's gonna be. But it's gonna be a football conversation between two people that is passionate about this sport. We got Chrome in the building. Looney Tunes in the building. Frank Vash Starwin is in the building. We got my man Lions Rumble. That's my one of my co-hosts over there. Dr. Paparoni in the building. Jon Kapler is in the building. We got Forbidden Knowledge. BD Buster, Craig Bevins, Midwest Lion, Dan Spanos, Marcus Willis, Crimson Shadow. Man, Jesus. Detroit made me. John Bradshaw. Let me see. Make sure I meet somebody. Waldorf Lions, C. Gerald, Bulgarians, Crimson Shadow, Mikhail Hope, 9 Drinks, Greg Peoples, Marcus Robinson, Detroit Rage Sports. Shout out to the homie. What's going on, sir? Hope all is well. Big G in Texas. What up, dude? And Super Saiyan Lion, one funky Lions fan. All right, I hope I hit everybody. Let me get everything going. And since we started it off with the whole conversation of Kyle Hamilton, let's get into it. Now, you know, before I get into that, I want to do something a little different because I want you to give me your rate, your highest rated person at this position. Who is Jackson Kruger's Sports, aka the first of all, let me ask you a question. Let me go back. How in the hell are you putting out these videos so fast? Like, what are you doing? Like, is it like 8 of you and I just don't know, or what is happening? How are you? What can you tell a brother the secret to how a game can end all the bit of 14 seconds and you got 4 videos? How?
Well, I make videos during the game. That's pretty much what I
I can't do it.
Yeah, I'll watch the game. I'll come up with like a big plays that I want to talk about. I'll put already, record that part, edit it, get it all together, and then kind of usually I have to cut stuff out because it doesn't make sense for the broader narrative of the video. But it's similar to how like a reporter will write their article for a game while the game's going. I do the same thing but video form.
And you're doing all of that while still watching the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to work on my
downtime.
I mean, yeah, but I got to work on my multitasking skills. My downtime is usually chasing kids, telling them don't do this and don't do that. I'm always impressed with your ability to get things out fast and handle it. What's going on, Cap Ice Cold? I see you. And look, you got a lot of fans here, man. People who really appreciate what you're doing. Dr. Detroit says excited for this kid. He really knows his football. This kid could have a real career. I think you misspoke a little bit, Dr. Detroit. See, the idea of having a real career would imply that he does not. And in my opinion, he already does. This is a household name.
Hey, well, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the compliments and everything.
He says in the NFL. Well, who knows? The NFL might be watching. Ain't no telling. You never know. All right. Let's get down to it, man. Who's your highest rated safety?
I have Lewis Cine. It's pronounced Cine, right?
I think it's pronounced Cine. Cine.
Yeah, I never know. Pronunciations are hard for me because to go a little bit back just in how I evaluate this stuff, I don't watch college football. So for me, I basically just take a month out of my year before the draft every year and just sit down and watch the tape of every single prospect. And so I think part of it comes down to what do you value in safeties? I think that Cine has really good coverage skills. And really, I'm not as high on Hamilton. I have a first-round grade on Hamilton, but it is a low first-round grade on Kyle Hamilton. And I think that, I was listening to one of your shows, the most recent one you did with Drew, and you were listening to you. I think we just, we disagreed with whatever it was about Kyle Hamilton. I was not as impressed with his several things. I thought that he did blow coverages at time. And, if you watched, I know you said you watched my video where I talked about that a lot. I thought he did blow coverages at times. I thought that a lot of times why he was, making these highlight reel level plays was he was kind of cheating a little bit by making his decisions quickly and not waiting until the tell happened, which sometimes works and it gets you a good play, but it also resulted in him getting himself out of position at times. So it gets you a good highlight reel, but might not actually be a great football player, and quite frankly, I thought that I didn't love his free safety play. I thought that his strong safety play was awesome. And if you're drafting him to be a box safety or a linebacker, then I'm cool with it. I just didn't love his free safety play is really what it came down to.
Well, time to put the gloves on. No, seriously. No, seriously. I mean, here's the thing. I think the idea that people blowing coverages can be said for all the safeties. I can easily
to some degree, sure.
I can always go through and show them blowing plays. But for me, I think it's a little bit different on why I was impressed with him. And I thought the way Notre Dame used him was hot garbage. I really did. I thought that they really. I've never seen too many safeties be asked to be in press position and cover. That's BS for me. Especially when you have so much open field, and then they are asking him to take off and run back deep. So I saw different little things that I definitely didn't like. But the things that I liked about it was the fact that he was instinctive and he was quick with his decision making. And for me, I never got the feeling that he was guessing. Never once I got the feeling that he was guessing. I watched as he got better and better and better and better and better. And to me, I never seen this linebacker person. I never seen that. Now, I have always argued that, hey, the Lions are probably going to take him at 2. That's my prediction. Just based on what some of the things that the general manager said about getting more help on the perimeter. And when they had an interview with him, they was very specifically asking him questions about the quarterback, edge rusher position. And he kept, for some reason, responding with, there are playmakers at other positions too outside of those. And I'm like, why does he keep doing this? Why does he just keep doing it? Then, Dan Campbell comes out and make the statement about we want a starter at 2. So I'm like, oh, there goes your quarterback. He's eliminated because he is certainly not starting. And then they came back again, and it's rumored that Dan Campbell is not a fan of Thibodeau. So it's like, oh, shoot. But during the Lions Den video, they made some statements that I literally had to screenshot piece by piece to kind of figure out what the real conversation was. And I came to the conclusion that they're talking about Jermaine Johnson. I often call him Jackson because I looked at your name. They're talking about Jermaine Johnson. And so, I had all these little bits and pieces like that. But one of the things for me is I saw a guy who can play strong and free. And I saw a guy who even one of the plays that you had, you said that, hey, this is his fault. And I was like, well, no, wait a minute. He has to take the guy over the top because that's the bigger threat. So, and you did say in the video that, yeah, I can understand him, taking the deeper guy and stuff like that. But for me, what I see is a guy who is just in a class of his own. With Seen, I see a guy who's fast, right? That's cool, right? He's really fast. He's played behind a good front 7, and that's all fine and dandy. But a lot of the stuff that I saw with him was not like this. He's not actively looking to get the ball back to the offense. He's actively looking to just tackle. And I want somebody who can get the ball back to the offense, because one of the things that I remember about the Lions, and it's really your fault that you did this, is every freaking time we would lose, you would go and show the play that was the play that doomed them. And I'm like, they're all deep freaking bombs. So,
sure.
For me, I want somebody who I know can cover all that. To me, that's Kyle Hamilton. Now, if the Lions don't take him, fine. The benefit of doing this is we get a chance to see who's right. I had a whole video that is still one of the most popular videos. That is still my thumbs up have changed dramatically, but that one had the most thumbs down, all because I said Okudah is not worth a top 10 pick. It's the total opposite with Hamilton. I think this guy's a stud.
Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, you say some things that are absolutely, I think, true. I think that Hamilton does have better big play potential. I'll certainly grant that. I guess kind of my thing is, you talk about the deep shots, right? Well, I mean, there's no question that Seen is the faster safety, right? He's the guy who's going to cover more ground in a deep safety role. And that's kind of part of the point, is that he can be more of a center field type. Whereas I think, again, Hamilton is, I know you said earlier, the 4.59 doesn't concern you that much. I didn't think he's someone he's very fast for his size, is what I would say. But I don't think he's just straight up fast for a safety. That is on the slower side for safeties. Typically, to be a successful safety, you have to break 4.6. He did just break 4.6, so that works. But, he is kind of on that cuff, and he's certainly not going to wow you with speed or wow you with just the amount of grass he can cover. For him, I think he's, again, plenty to like about him. I think that he does break in well and makes good tackles. And when he's making the correct reads and not getting out of position, again, I did see him get fooled with play actions and things like that. But when he doesn't, he looks awesome. So there's plenty to like about Kyle Hamilton, and part of it depends on scheme as well as to which one would be better. But I think there's too many issues in Hamilton's tape for me to feel great about him at 2 overall.
Yeah, I just looked at it and I said, you know what? The speed don't bother me one bit. I know everybody's gonna go, what the hell he mean? But Cam Chancellor ran a 4.66. I can keep going down the list. We got a receiver on our team that ran a 4.7, and he kills people left to right. And Quintez Cephas, Jarvis Landry ran a 4.7, 4.8, something like that.
Sure, but those are exceptions, right? I mean, the general rule says that if you run slower, you're not going to be as good. Although it typically has to be slower.
Not necessarily, because we've seen a lot of people run fast and they've been a hot garbage. Starting with John Ross, Darius Hayward-Bay. And remember, we had people like Vernon Golston, who had a hell of a thing, and he was running crazy. Aaron Curry ran crazy. It's a lot of people who have ran crazy, and it's not translated. To me. And again, keep in mind, my mindset comes from people that I followed, that I was like hugely influenced by, like certain defensive players. When I played defense, so I was influenced heavily by certain defensive players. And when I was I'm still young, but when I was much younger, I got a chance to meet Ray Lewis, and I asked him 100-some questions. And every question I asked him, he literally took the time to just teach me certain things and how to look for this, look for that, do this. And I went, wow, this bit of information was so much to gain. And it changed my life in such a way that it changed my view of things. And one of the things I realized is everybody is not fast in the NFL. Technique wins every single time. And technically, I feel like Kyle Hamilton is the most technical sound safety here. With Seen, yes, he's fast. You're going to get a fast guy who's going to run and everything. But I don't feel like Seen is playing with instincts as much as he's just playing with his athletic ability. The same goes for Dax Hill. I wish people would stop telling me about Dax Hill, because he's a freaking slot corner. Every time I watch him at Michigan at the safety spot, I want to puke. It's nothing to write home about. It's so cringe-worthy to watch him. But in a slot or as a corner, man, he's out there getting physical, and I'm like, oh, I like that. But at the safety, I'm like, I've seen this one before. It doesn't work out. Really quick, Q says, oh, my nephew will be player, left guard for Michigan that season. At least that's what he's played in the recent offense and defensive game. Cross our fingers. Hey, congratulations to him. I wish him all the best. And hopefully, you tell him come over here and talk to Luke G so we can have some fun. I want to always hear about things like that. My man Technical Puma says, Luke, those videos are heavily edited. I know. I do know that. But luckily, I have people who know how to get all 22 films, and I get to watch those, and then I use the broadcast film, because guess what? 9 times out of 10, for some reason, I can't figure out why I keep getting flagged whenever I use freaking any film. Don't understand. I'll talk to you about that afterwards, Jackson.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah, for me, if I was doing my hierarchy of safeties, it would go Kyle Hamilton. I would then put Brisker 2. I would then put what the hell is his damn name? I gotta go find his damn name. I always
Kirby Joseph, Brian Cook.
No, not Kirby Joseph. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. Hold on. It's God damn it. I'm drawing brains. I'm gonna tell you, since I got COVID, my brain farts have been terrible.
Gotcha. Hey, it's all right. We'll circle back.
Yeah, I'm drawing blank. I gotta find his name. But right now, never mind. Petrie. There you go.
Gotcha.
Petrie would be my 3rd. Then Seen would be my 4th. Like, I like Petrie's game more than Seen. I seen some plays where Seen made some business decisions, and that scares me. I hate when players make. That's one of the reasons that Nakobe Dean made me upset, because once you saw Jameis Williams get hurt in that game, he started making business decisions. He wasn't running as fast. He wasn't tackling as hard. That kind of stuff makes me want to puke. But
listen, Kyle Hamilton will not make business decisions. I promise you that much. He might whiff on the tackle, but he'll at least go all for it.
But that's what I like. And then here's the other part that go with it, Jackson. We got Aubrey Pleasant and Aaron Glenn, a former cornerback, to coach him. And on top of having that, whenever I look at these teams that have good defenses, there's a guy at every level. Safety, linebacker, D-line. We got a D-line guy, maybe. Linebacker we'll pray about. Safety is even worse. And I'm not more impressed with Deshaun Elliott. Is he gonna be healthy? I don't know. So that's what I'm looking at. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, what the Elliott signing does that I like is that it means you don't have to go safety if you don't want to. It gives you a little bit more versatility of you can just go pure best player available and have a plan B if you don't want to go safety. But here's my question for you, I think, is that, so if you want to argue Hamilton over Scene, that's fine. I don't have a strong feeling either way on them. To me, they are in the same tier, though. So I guess that's kind of the question, right? Is would you rather go safety at 2 and then maybe get a, whoever you want at 32 or 34, or do you draft just someone who maybe, is in a more valuable position, someone who maybe you like better, although I'm not sure if you like anyone better than Kyle Hamilton, but would you rather a Kayvon Thibodeau, and then you can still get a good safety with a later pick and end up maybe with more overall talent?
No, so what it is this. When I look at the Lions, I look solely at what the Lions' biggest problem is. Right now, here's our safeties on team. Tracy Walker, fine with him. Deshaun Elliott, don't know if he's going to be healthy. We'll pray about it. Brady Breeze, okay. CJ Moore, no. Like, we got another Elliott. I'm drawing a blank on his damn name, but we got another Elliott. Then Will Harris, who may be a corner, may not be. I don't know. But, and to me, I think there's going to be a run of safeties toward the end of the draft. I think Kansas City taking a safety. I think that some of those later teams are going to be looking in the safety department, and then you're talking about you may not be able to get a chance to take a safety until 34, and at that point, I'm basically stuck with the 3rd, 4th, or 5th best safety. No, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with Kayvon Thibodeau because, again, another guy who I literally on film on 3rd and long, he's not rushing. And I'm trying to figure out how in the hell are you not? That's when you pin your ears back and you go and get somebody. He's not doing it. I'm talking about that UCLA game. I can literally show.
Okay, I'll go back and look it out. I didn't catch that, but I'll give it another look.
Yeah, go back and look at that UCLA game and just look at the number of times when it's 3rd down and something, and look how fast he come off the line of scrimmage compared to everybody else. You're going to be starting to question, why is he not firing off? Why is he not, going after these people? Where's that workhorse mentality at? He wasn't doing it. And I think that's why the Lions have so many questions about, hey, do the guy like football and all this other stuff? Because it's on 3rd down, that's go get it time. So once we get past that, we go down to Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, yes, he had one good year, and I don't want to downplay Aiden Hutchinson, but this whole idea that Aiden Hutchinson is Jared Allen, Joey Bosa, TJ Watt is BS. No. He's closer, in my opinion, he's closer to Trey Flowers than he is those guys. And
interesting.
Yeah, everybody was hyped up for what he did against Ohio State, and then I showed a video of what Boye Mafe did against Ohio State, and I said, listen, them tackles just was not very good. It just wasn't. I don't know why. It just wasn't. And so now I'm down to those two. And I'm saying to myself, okay, what has been the history of Brad Holmes? What has been the history of the Rams? What has been the history of all these other people? And what I came to the conclusion of was they usually get guys that they met at the Senior Bowl in these drafts. And you will have those options with Boye Mafe. You will have those options with people that they have already talked to, like Ali Faye, that they can get it done with, D'Angelo Malone and stuff like that. I don't see a reason for this to try to squeeze a DN in there, because if the DN don't work out, where can you move him to?
Right. So you're picking someone because you think it's going to work out, right? You're not picking someone.
Right. We're hoping they work out, right? I mean, the Browns hope Courtney Brown worked out, right? It didn't.
Sure.
The Raiders hope that Jamarcus Russell worked out. It didn't. I was hoping that Amir Doodle worked out. I needed that run game bad. It didn't.
Sure. No, I guess. So is your take just that Kyle Hamilton's the best player in this draft?
Yes, for the Lions.
Because here's how for the Lions, or like if it's a different team, let's say the Lions had safeties. Let's say they signed Tyrann Mathieu or whatever. They figure it out. They don't need a safety. Would you still say Kyle Hamilton? Or I guess maybe here's the better hypothetical. If they had solid safeties but not elite ones, would you still want to go Kyle Hamilton, or would you then go to a different player?
The Lions?
Yeah.
if they had solid safety play, then I would go to linebacker. And at that point, I would then be asking for us to move down and go to linebacker.
Interesting. Because see, I feel like the Lions are enough pieces away that I think they should just be going best player available, period. I don't think that you need to go, because I guess who are the players that getting an elite guy wouldn't be an immediate upgrade? Like what positions getting a great player would it like not help you that much? It's tackle and tight end, right? Every other position you could use a really good player for. So for me, I kind of view it as who's just the best player I can get. If Aiden Hutchinson falls, he is my number one player in this draft. I just draft Aiden Hutchinson and don't worry about it. But again, I'm lower on Hamilton than you are. So if you believe Hamilton is that superstar player, I get the logic behind it.
Yeah. Now, according to some people, they feel like I'm not giving you enough time to talk. So I want to acknowledge they ridiculousness. This is a conversation. The same way when you talk, I stop talking. But for the people who are hard of hearing, let me just help them out. Let me go back. I saw one comment that I thought was intriguing. This one right here. Talk facts. Never seen this person before. But chances is I probably know who this is, and he's been changing these fake accounts for the longest, so I'll give him his attention this time. Okay. It says Luke Aiden is number one on 85% of the guys' list except yours. So,
right?
Like, what does that mean? That means nothing to me. I have my view, I have my list, and I have my personal two eyes. If I believe if I believe that Doberman Pitchermans are the best dogs in the world, and everybody else agrees that it's pit bulls, why do I have to care that they agree that it's pit bulls? For me, the Doberman is the best dog. Get over yourself. That doesn't make sense.
I'm with you. Yeah. Again, that's what we're here for, right? That's what we do on YouTube is we give our opinions, and sometimes our opinions are against consensus, and that's why people listen. It's because they want to hear our opinions, not just us repeat the consensus.
Right. I'm not. If I'm going to repeat everything, I'll just tell you go watch ESPN. Right. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't tell you go watch JKS. I wouldn't tell you go watch, some of the people who are doing it. So that's just the bottom line. Now, here's the other thing. You made a video about Marcus Williams.
Sure.
Where you praise Marcus Williams for running across the field and getting a beautiful interception. And then let me just tell you, it was very beautiful. We both agreed it was beautiful. And then you knocked Kyle Hamilton for the same play in a way where you did say it was a bad pass, but it was like, oh, well, he kind of already started running. I'm like, no. He has to be aware enough to know that this is happening to take off that way, because not everybody's going to have the wherewithal to just read the eyes of the quarterback to get over there. He did, and he didn't do it just once. He did it twice. And I go to the Purdue game where, to me, as I'm watching it, I'm like, yo, they're actively avoiding this guy. Like, they was literally just like, stay away from him. I don't care where else you go, stay away from him. I had a few, and then I noticed you also talked about the Cincinnati game as one of his worst games. I didn't see it as one of his worst games.
Okay.
I saw that. I saw a lot of things in that game, but that wasn't one of them. I know that cornerback, who I can't think of his damn name, he needed prayer. And I thought that for some reason, they have to do a better job of getting them more involved. But talk to me about that. Why praise Marcus Williams from doing the same play that Kyle Hamilton had, but then kind of not Kyle Hamilton?
Well, I think, again, I'm going back and trying to remember it now. So, for one thing, it's possible that, I was making a video talking about Marcus Williams, so I'm getting the good plays in there, and it's possible that kind of one play that, I put in there is similar to one that Kyle Hamilton did. But I think Williams just covers more ground is really the big thing. I think Williams is he's someone who can get to a spot quicker than Kyle Hamilton can is really my main thing.
But I thought, okay, now I could be wrong. Didn't Marcus Williams run like a 4.6 in the combine?
Maybe. I don't remember. Maybe you might be right. You might have me here, Luke. You might have a good point here.
Like, because to me, I'm almost sure he ran a 4.61. I got to look it up though. Again, just to be sure. I can't remember every damn thing. I'm telling you, at the COVID, it messed up my memory big time. But I'm just saying, I'm not that good with computers as most, so y'all got to give me a minute to get there. Sorry to break the news to you. But according to NFL.com, let's see.
I have 4, 5, 6. So basically around the same time as Hamilton.
And Hamilton is 6'4", and they got him. Wait a minute. I thought Marcus Williams also taller. Oh, you know what?
I don't think he's taller than 6'4".
No. He's 6'1" according to NFL.com.
That feels about right.
But I'm thinking of Cam Chancellor. who ran the 4.66. All right. But nonetheless, even at a 4.6, 4.56 and a 4.59, it's not that much of a difference.
No, I agree with that.
You know, so it's not that much.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
I will say this before we switch gears on it. To go back to that question that you asked me, if the Lions had safeties, hell, if they move Okudah to safety, I'm telling you, and don't get me wrong, everybody's first attitude is to trade this pick out. But if they move Okudah to safety, I'm telling you, trade the pick. Whatever you do, get what you can, trade the pick out, go get me a linebacker.
Interesting.
That's how I'm doing it.
So how would you feel about let's maybe shift gears a little bit and talk about some other prospects. How would you feel about for example, like a Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley at number 2 overall?
I'm cool with it because at this point I already got Okudah who was said to be fast. I mean, he ran a 4.4. Was it 4.49?
I thought he ran. Yeah, it might have been 4.49. It wasn't overly fast. He was on the slower side for corners.
Yeah, but go tell that to Devontae Adams.
Sure. I don't care about receiver 40 times.
No. I'm saying, like, if you look at the receivers that he went against, I don't care who it was. They all was cooking him, and I'm like, how? His technique was not there. His technique was not what I would expect from him. But so if they went out and they added Sauce Gardner, shout out to my man SpeakEZ Sports who says, Luke, if they went out and added Sauce Gardner, I'm not going to trip. You know why? Because at the end of the day, your best corner is Amani Oruwariye. You can't trust nobody else. However, you can't take Sauce Gardner without having no safety play. And if you take Sauce Gardner, then you're definitely going to have to take a safety by pick 34. Because come pick 32, which I would trade that pick if it was me, but that's another story. Come pick 32, you're probably going to end up taking a pass rusher. And so for me, if you take in Sauce Gardner, you're still doing the secondary is due diligence, but that only makes sense to me if you move in Okudah to safety. The safety play that we need is so bad. Like, I'm gonna see if I can bring it up, but I'm so disgusted at what I've seen over and over and over again, where we're losing games on big plays, and that's what got me tired. But if we took him at 2, I'm not going to kill him. I trust the process. I trust Dan Campbell, and I trust Brad Holmes at this point.
Sure. I mean, yeah. So for my mock draft, I took Sauce Gardner at 2 because I kind of am of the believer in you don't need elite safeties, you just need solid safeties. And I think it's easier to go out and get a solid safety than it is to get or it's easier to get a good safety than it is to get good corners, kind of my main thing. So number 2 overall, I think there's less good corners in this draft than there are safeties and edge, which seems to be the 2 primary positions. So Gardner's the guy I would pick, but also Stingley's pretty good as well. Not sure what's happening here. You've got some highlights, I guess.
So I'm just watching play of poor safety play.
But that's a poor. That was the corner wasn't there either.
This right here is well, no, it's yeah. No, wait, that's the wrong one. Let me go back.
Okay,
I got to skip back some. Hold on. I think I skipped back a little bit too far. Yeah, I did go back too damn far.
Okay,
again,
no worries.
I'm trying to line this thing up, so it had to come after this. I think it's this one right here. All right. So again, this right here are the things that I look at that irritates me. Will somebody please just kill him? I understand. Sure. Understand the corners here. His head's not turned, but I believe that was Jacoby Jacobs or Jerry. I forget the goddamn dude's name. I believe that's him. But nonetheless, if you had a good safety with that ball coming right there, oh my God, that's an incomplete. There's no way.
I think you could say the same with corner, though, right?
No, because he's throwing it to the sideline.
Okay. I mean, again, I think that's debatable, but I think it's either way. The bottom line is they need better secondary play, right? We can both agree on that.
And that's my issue. They definitely need better secondary play because I'm tired. I'm tired of the big plays. If you understood how much, dude, this play right here. Let me see if I can find it. Is this one of them? Oh, this is the one we got a sack. No, this is one. This one right here. Where the hell is the safety at on that? And yes, we can talk about the corner, but golly, come on.
Yeah, I can't wait to call on that one, but
and he got hit.
Sure. Well, I think he was fine. But I mean, I don't know exactly. It looks like there's a single safety deep there. I'm not sure. Again,
that's
I
iffy
have
too.
to see the all 22 to really know too much about that one. And
No,
Matt LaFleur's also good at getting people out of position. But again, I'm not saying they can't improve on the safeties. I'm just mostly saying I think typically corner is, in my opinion, the most important position on defense. I want a good corner first and foremost.
Now, here's the other part to the corner, though. I feel like the cornerback position has a deeper, steeper learning curve, and one of the things that makes Sauce Gardner special is, one, he's from Detroit, played at Detroit King High School. I'm very familiar with him. So he's from Detroit, and the dude was nice in high school, nice in college. I get it. I expect for him to keep that going, right? But I also look at it and I say, to me, the Lions, let's say they took Sauce Gardner, right? If they took Sauce Gardner or they took Kyle Hamilton, it still works out in the favor of the Lions, in my opinion, because now it manipulates the draft board. That means, let's just say hypothetically, Trayvon Walker, which for the likes of me, I don't know how this would possibly happen, but if anybody would do it, it would be that GM for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's say he absolutely do that, and they go Sauce Gardner there, right? And now all of a sudden you got Aiden Hutchinson coming down to pick 3. You got Kayvon Thibodeau coming down. And now you're starting to see this pattern where, you're starting to see this pattern where the draft board is switching up. It's changing up because people didn't know that they was going to fall. And the reason this dawned on me was when the Raiders took Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah,
when they took him, that changed the whole damn draft board. Then you saw people like Josh Allen come down. That changed the whole goddamn draft board. And I started seeing people in the second round that I was like, damn, that's doing the second round. And I'm thinking, if I'm the Lions, I'm taking my safety off rip, or in this case, like you said, the corner. I would definitely, I wouldn't mind the corner, but I would stay away from the corner because of that learning curve. And then 2, you're talking about now pushing a lot of those guys that you had at the Senior Bowl to the second round. A lot of those guys that people thought was not going to be there is going to get pushed down. And now guess what? You're sitting up there at pick 32 with most of the quarterbacks probably still on the board. Seattle with 2 second-round picks ready to try to jump up if they didn't get their quarterback early, which I don't think they're going to take quarterback early. I just think Pete Carroll's that kind of weird guy. And I don't think he's sold on certain people. And then you have a chance at 32 or 34 to either get a trade or to still get most of your picks there without having to panic. I think that's better, and I think that works. What do you think about that and manipulating the draft board?
About getting Hamilton too, and then
I'm just saying. What if they took Hamilton, or they took Sauce? I think that's enough to manipulate the draft board for the Lions to still have many of their draft picks there at 32 and 34 that they want.
I don't really think it'll have that much of an impact on who's there at that late in the draft. I think the good players are still going to go. I'm not sure how much ripple effect it'll have that far down the draft. It'll have it a little bit, but I'm not sure if it'll help it as much.
See, I think it'll have a huge impact because when we look back at those other drafts where they did that or somebody did, like I remember Seattle one year took Bruce Irvin, which I was very excited about, and that changed a lot of the draft boards. And people was like, "Oh shit, he's still here." And one of the things I have a tendency of doing, because I ain't got nothing else better to do, is after the draft, particularly the first round, I go and look at every freaking newspaper for all 32 teams, and I want to see what they're saying.
Okay.
And one of the things I realized is they all say, I did not expect this person to be there, or he felt about where we thought he was going to be there. And I was like, okay, cool. Right? That's what you want him to be. But again, for me, I'm all about the Lions. I can care less about the rest of it. I'm trying to make the Lions a better team. Right now, the Lions got a problem with stuff like this. Right? With stuff like this. And again, granted, I get it. You can always find fault with a number of different things, but this right here, I don't need all 22 to know that this is some bullshit. Like, come on, Tracy Walker.
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
And many of these you're going to notice that it's either Tracy Walker, it's really Will Harris. Good grief. Like this is just come on, Tracy. And then Will Harris, I don't know what his thought process was, but how do you get beat to the play by Trey Flowers? How? So these little things matter. Even on this play, Come on, Will Harris. If that's Kyle Hamilton, you think that's gonna work?
Probably not. No. Yeah, probably not.
And on this play, this other part about it, I'm like they hit him, and so I've come to these conclusions where there's a lot of generic. There's a lot of generic beliefs that I'm like, this is BS. Why are we subscribing to this? Like I've seen a lot of good teams with pass rush, Jackson, and I'm still trying to figure out why were they still getting their ass handed to them, like the Steelers who had 55 sacks. Explain that.
Because they can't cover. I mean, gone are the days of the games being won in the trenches, in my opinion. It's a passing league. And if you have to be able, the teams that win Super Bowls are the teams that can cover and the teams that can throw the ball. I mean, that's in order of importance. It goes being able to throw the ball and then being able to defend the pass. Those are the two most important things. And that's great if you're getting pressure in 2.5 seconds, but if the ball's getting out in 1 second, doesn't matter how good your pass rush is.
Or if they do like how the Lions did a few times where they throw the short screen or that weird little wide receiver bubble screen that they do where they get all the blockers in front, which to me, there's nobody that do it better than the 49ers with freaking Debo. I'm like, no, that's just not even fair. Like,
right.
Like it's ridiculous. When you see that kind of stuff, it's like, okay, so who cares about your pass rush? Right?
Right.
And then I'm noticing another thing that's happening. The quarterbacks, the really good quarterbacks, do not care about being hit. They don't care about how many times you hit them. They don't care about your pressure. They don't. They're going to deliver the ball regardless. I can't tell you how many times I saw somebody get hit in the face and ball still delivered.
Yeah. I mean, listen, obviously having good pass rush matters, right? Because it can give you more, it gives the quarterback on average less time to throw. You get more pressures. You can get some strip sacks and things like that. But the reality is it's just coverage matters more. And if guys are getting open quicker, there isn't a pass rusher in the league that can get pressure in under 2 seconds consistently. There are corners in the league who will give up separation in under 2 seconds consistently. I'm as Lions fans saw firsthand, especially with the Jeff Okudah stuff. I mean, there are times you just throw it up to him, right? Because why not? That's a legitimate strategy. So I guess my main point about the Lions in general is like, quite frankly, I don't think they're a player away anyways. I think that they need multiple players in multiple different spots to really get this defense under control. The defense was really bad last year. So you have to add multiple players. And so that's why I'm less concerned about need and more concerned about just who are the best defensive players. And then we can, I think they're more than just a couple players away anyways.
No, I agree. I agree. Let's switch gears though, because this is one thing that I think me and you do that we both agree on. How in the hell is Trayvon Walker just climbing up boards? Who did this? How did this happen? What? Tell me I'm lying. Jackson, feel free to tell me I'm full of shit. Tell me I'm lying and I'm full of shit that this is all because of what he did at the combine. Please tell me I'm lying.
I mean, it's hard to argue the contrary, right? I mean, he was consistently mocked as kind of a late first rounder, which is probably where he should be, late first, early second kind of guy. And then the combine happens and I've seen mocks of him getting first overall hype, which is just baffling to me. I mean, I'm someone who I believe at the edge rush position, I'm not going to draft you if you don't have production. I think there's been enough evidence to support that you need production at the college level to be. I mean, there's been a couple of exceptions, but for the most, again, you can always find exceptions to every rule. But the general rule is if you don't have production in college, it's going to be tough to be successful. Now, listen, is the fact that Trayvon Walker basically had like a mediocre corner athleticism despite being 275 pounds impressive? Sure. Is that worth taking a flyer on? I think absolutely, but not in the. I don't even think in the first round, let alone top 5
pick. Neither. I wouldn't listen. I would not touch him in the first round if it was me. I literally went through and I was trying every which way possible to go through and be like, okay, let me see what's up with this, and this, and see if he's better than these players. Couldn't say that. I could not say that. And then I started realizing who he played next to, and I'm like, how in the hell did he not make more plays?
Right. I mean, well, the one thing I'll say that, Walker fans bring this up a lot. I don't really agree with it as much, but it's a common talking point, which is somewhat true, is that a lot of times he was kind of just, defending his gap and he wasn't really rushing the passer in a more traditional sense. That was on tape, but just nowhere near as much as people make it out to be.
And it wasn't enough for me to be like, hey, because some of those times when he was maintaining the gap and it came there, he wasn't making the play.
Right.
So, I mean, that's your gap.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I don't really get it either. I'm just as confused about it as anybody. And even the examples that people bring up. So Rashawn Gary is kind of another example. Now, Gary was better in college than Walker, but he was still kind of in a similar idea of like, didn't really have great production, but kind of this big physical freak type guy who's just really athletic. And he did finally break out this last year, but it took him 3 years. So best case scenario with Walker is I think something like that happens where he breaks out, but takes him a long time to fully reach that potential. Because again, all the physicality with him is great, but that's literally all he has right now. And
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And when I watch him, I'm going, okay, every now and then he'll body somebody, but isn't
even his wins weren't that impressive. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's like, again, let me ask you a question. You the general manager of the Detroit Lions. I don't know if you looked at the roster in its entirety, but you're sitting up there, you get the second overall pick. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Sauce Gardner. I think Sauce Gardner would be he's my number 2 player on the board outside of Aiden Hutchinson. I'd feel if Hutchinson's available, I go Hutchinson. If Gardner's available, I go Gardner.
Who do you think will end up, after it's all said and done, being the best defensive edge rusher coming in this draft? When it's all said and done, who do you think will end up being, not who's coming out of college, but who will ultimately end up being the best edge rusher?
Wait, as in like which
from this
player
class? This class.
I would say Hutchinson. I think Hutchinson has the. I think that he's very explosive. I think his hands are, hands matter, right? Like I said, technique, especially with the pass rush, technique matters so much. And his technique, I think, is great. I think that he constantly wins. He's a guy who, like I said, Walker, his wins don't look that impressive. Hutchinson's losses look impressive to me. I love Hutchinson's tape. I'm all about Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, I again, call me crazy.
Okay,
call me crazy.
That's what we're here for, right?
I think Boye Mafe is going to end up being the guy. It's either going to be him. It's either going to be him or George Karlaftis. And the reason I say that is because
I like Karlaftis.
One of them two is going to end up going to a really good team where they're going to be asked to just go get the quarterback. They're not going to be asked. Aiden Hutchinson is going to come here, and I can't tell you whose spot he's taking. I can't tell you whose spot he's taking on the Detroit Lions. Thibodeau, I don't know whose spot he's taking. And then the other issue that I have with it is this. You're looking at guys who you're feeling confident enough that you're going to get that second contract.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure. Let me put another wild one out there for you, because there's rumors that Dan Campbell is not a fan of Thibodeau. Yeah. What an interesting take for me. I see some Penn State love in here. I see y'all.
Yeah, sure. I like Ebiketie. I think I like him too.
I mean, I'm just so proud of you that you can name these people, because I fucking can't do it. So
I've mispronounced it so many times on my channel already. It's been a real journey for me trying to get that name right.
Listen, the guy from North Carolina State, I have to say his name so slow in my head.
Oh, I know. It's the most difficult part of the draft process. Not evaluating guys, just getting the pronunciations right.
Exactly. But are you buying the rumor? Are you buying a rumor that Dan Campbell is not interested or is not really a fan of Thibodeau? Because I really am.
I mean, those rumors are always so tough, right? I tend to have a general rule of, if it doesn't come from Schefter or Rappaport, I tend to not really pay it too much mind, just because, I don't want to say something and then it be completely wrong. So that's kind of the way I view it. But I guess what I'll say is, I can see Thibodeau not necessarily being a kneecap biting kind of guy with the fighting Dan Campbells, right? Like, you can kind of see him being sort of having a different kind of mindset than maybe the guy that Campbell typically looks for. So I can see it being the case. I don't know if the rumors are true, but there's logic behind it.
Yeah, I definitely do it. This is another one of my co-hosts. He absolutely hates. He hates Brendan Smith. I'm absolutely on board with Brendan Smith. Brendan Smith, to me, is as close of Michael Parsons as you're going to get to me. That dude is aggressive.
Wow.
Yes, I love Brendan Smith's game.
Okay, I'll have to give him a little bit more look then. I don't think I paid that much attention to him. Maybe I'm wrong. I
love Brendan Smith. So what I did was, last year when Parsons was coming out, I was looking at Parsons' tape and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, I like what I see. But I kept telling fans that, yeah, he's nice, but he's not going to change your defense. What can change your team is to complete the offensive line. And I think the Lions are going to take the offensive lineman, and they did. And when I watched the tape of Parsons, I kept noticing this damn player. And I'm like, who is this guy? And on every play, sometimes getting there first or forcing it his way. And I'm like, Brandon Smith. And at that point, I was 100% in it. But William is not impressed with him. He's not impressed with him at all. And I'm like, that's okay. I still love him.
What about this guy? What about Devin Lloyd, the Utah linebacker? He's another guy who he'll rush the passer, like kind of a similar Micah. Now he's not as quick as Micah Parsons, kind of more of a physical guy. But he's a guy who plays outside linebacker or as an off-ball linebacker, but will also line up as an edge and rush the passer straight up. If you're looking for Micah Parsons, he might be the closest thing.
Yeah, no, he scares me. I like him, but he scares me. And the reason he scares me, the reason Lloyd scares me is because I was watching his keep in mind, I'll watch a full season worth of tape before I say anything. You know, like I'll watch a full of it. I don't watch in the games, and I'm like, God, who does this guy remind me of? Because he was doing things, and I'm like, I've seen this before. And it was Edmonds, the linebacker from the Bills, Tremaine Edmonds, and I was like, And then I saw people like Brandon Smith, and I saw people like Chad Muma, and you know, people who I felt like, okay, from sideline to sideline, that's all I care about. All that down the field stuff, or you can't cover. I mean, how long do I got to ask him to cover for real? In most cases, like everybody not gonna be Fred Warner, but I thought out of all the coverage linebackers, Brandon Smith was the best.
Interesting. Okay,
I thought that. Listen, I'm telling you all this because I want you to go and take a look, make videos, give your opinion, and I don't mind if they're different. This is what makes football so lovely, right?
Yeah.
Like we've had disagreements before about players, and it's turned out. I think you gave Okudah a bit of a glowing review. I chewed him the task.
Yeah, I remember that's one of those. And I think in hindsight, that was not one of my better takes. But I wasn't.
It's okay. It's okay. You never know.
Yeah, I think I was even lower on Okudah. I didn't love Okudah at 3. I remember that, but you nailed that one. You got that one right.
No, listen, it's okay because it's one of the things where for me, the only reason I knew that Okudah was not as advertised is because I watched Michigan games, and everybody know I'm a Spartan fan. But when it's Michigan versus everybody, I'm Michigan. I'll root for Michigan until they meet up with freaking Spartans, and at that point, the hell with them.
Gotcha.
Right? That's when I started getting petty, and it is not my fault, Jackson. It's not my fault. It's really the fan fault that they do this. But when they start, falling in love with, with the Michigan Spartan rivalry, I gotta call people like you out. I gotta go out there, let them know that we're still here, that that things can happen differently. And every time they think that they can come in and say something, I remind them that people like you, Mr. Kruger, can come out a Sparty at any point in time. So I have fun with it. But again, I like those small things because when one of the things that Ray Lewis, I asked him, I said, hey, when you watching the tape, what are you looking for? He said, the small stuff. I said, what do you mean the small stuff? He says, look at, like, up until this entire time of me playing linebacker, I never once looked at a man's forearms or wrists or fingertips. I've never did it until Ray Lewis told me to.
Interesting.
You know what he told me to look? Why I should look at the lineman's fingertips and forearms and stuff?
Why's that?
Because he noticed that when they're trying to fire off for a run play, they put a whole lot of weight on it, and it flushes. It gets real tense and gets big. The finger gets flushed. And he says, when you see that, you can almost bet your bottom dollar it's a run. Interesting.
That makes sense. That's a good pivot.
So, again, I see the little things. I don't care about the big things. With Kyle Hamilton, I see the little things. It wasn't the speed and none of that stuff. It was the intangibles, the things I can't put on a stat sheet. The things like when Ndamukong Suh, everybody saw that game Ndamukong Suh had against Texas. I was completely at a loss of words. Like, what the hell just happened, right? But it wasn't so much just that game. It was what happened in the game that was not on the stat sheet. How all of a sudden they're scrambling to put 4 and 5 people over there, and to shut that side down. So that's what I look for, the small things. And Brandon Smith, I think if you look at his tape, I think you would find the best coverage linebacker. I really do. Everybody else I thought was cool, but he, to me, had the best coverage skills because he would be in the spot and he was big enough to get in the way of the pass and things like that. But that's just me. Let me ask you 2 more questions, and then we kind of, I don't want to keep you too long. You know, I don't, you know, but since we on the topic and stuff like that, I'm going to give you a hypothetical.
Okay.
If you had to bet your life savings,
okay,
your life savings, every penny, we gonna throw in your equipment, your YouTube, we gonna put all that.
Oh
in
my
there.
God,
you gotta bet it all. If you had to bet your life savings on all of that, what quarterback would you say would be the biggest bust? Has the biggest chance to be a bust that you would be like, if I'm betting all my stuff on it, that he's gonna probably be a bust. This is the guy, and you cannot name. I'm gonna give you one person you cannot name.
Okay.
You cannot name Sam Howell.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So I'm assuming the 4 options. So I guess here's my just question to clarify. Am I saying the guy who I think will be the worst? Like, does he have to be a high pick, or just am I talking out of those other 4 quarterbacks who has the least high chance of succeeding?
I'm saying the guy that who I think were at the end of that first contract, you're going to be like, wow, what a waste of a pick.
Okay. So with the 4 options being, I guess, so the 4 options, just to go back, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, you have Matt Corral, and then you have Desmond Ridder.
Yep.
I think I'd probably go Desmond Ridder. But you know,
you finna set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said Desmond Ridder. That's finna be the thing. That's finna be the thing.
What do you mean?
Because once somebody heard you say it's some people here who like Desmond Ridder.
Okay. I mean, I don't hate him.
This dude right here, man. Good grief. Get alive. First of all, let's go down the list. Jackson, you like football, right?
Sure. I think that's fair.
I think that's fair. All right. John Randall. Good football player, bad football player to your recollection? You remember?
No.
Okay. All right. Do you remember Wes Walker?
Sure. Wes Walker, yeah.
Was he drafted?
No.
What about James Harrison?
James Harrison was not drafted. Only made a team because of preseason, if I remember correctly.
Wasn't drafted, though.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be sure. Okay.
Correct.
When you go through the list of people who were not drafted, have you ever took a look at it?
I mean, it's, there's always going to be some good players. I mean, there's that are undrafted, right? That's not a guarantee you're going to suck just because you're undrafted.
No. Let me ask you another question. Have you ever noticed how every draft, whether it be NBA, NFL, NHL, MLB, you ever notice how it be some great players who just don't get opportunity? You ever seen that happen before?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's if you ever watch Moneyball, that's what that whole thing is about, right? Yeah. It's finding guys who are undervalued and not giving opportunities and giving them opportunities.
Pretty sure. All right. So this is for the guy who needs the attention because he can't find something else to do better with his time. He wants to keep bringing up Khalil Hodge. Khalil Hodge is a linebacker that played at Buffalo. I really did enjoy him. He was a tackling machine. He actually led the NCAA in tackling. Ain't that funny?
Okay.
Right? He was really one of those guys. And he didn't get drafted because he was not very fast. In fact, I think he ran like a 5 something. Right, like he had a really slow 40, and I think that's what doomed him because we all fall in love with speed. But let's just talk about it for a moment. Well, afterwards, because what they don't know is I actually had a conversation with the guy himself. He decided that he didn't want to do football anymore. He wanted to start his own business and do some other things with his life and do some different ventures. And so he thought he had did enough in college, and that was his sign that he should go a different direction. However, let's talk about people like Kurt Warner. You think that's a pretty okay football player?
I think it worked out all right. I think the gold jacket.
Do you remember him being drafted?
I don't. No.
But he did really well.
Yeah, did all right for himself.
What about Warren Moon?
Warren Moon, I don't believe was drafted, right? I'm assuming so. You're bringing him up.
No. So the point I'm trying to make is this: can y'all get over y'all damn selves, please? Okay, my view is my view. You don't like it, you don't like it. Once you get outside of the group for once and think outside the box. I like what I like, and if they don't get drafted, they don't get picked up, it don't matter. And just as Jackson, only a narcissist would think that they can be 100% right.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a guess. Kyle and I on the podcast say all the time, nobody knows anything because like that's really what it comes down. It's we're all
That's what it boils down
it's
to.
a guessing game. We're just trying to get the highest percentage right. It's if you nail 70% of draft picks, you're Bill Belichick, right? Like I mean that's just like it's hard.
So if you nail 70% of draft picks, you Bill Belichick. So what if I told you I only got one pick wrong over the last 3 or 4 seasons of me doing this?
I guess maybe team owners should be calling you, Luke.
Okay, we're gonna leave that alone. Next, let me get back to the show. They wanted the attention, so I gave it to them. I know what it is.
Sure.
Yeah,
sometimes you can't help yourself.
Yeah, it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, I've been there.
So I've come up with a name for this year's draft. I call this the Great Reach Bowl. Yeah.
Okay.
Which brings me to my next question. Which of these teams do you see reaching first?
Ooh, reaching first. So I'm assuming you mean reaching on the quarterback, right?
I mean reaching, period. Maybe the Lions taking a safety will be a reach for some people. I just don't feel like there's no true number one talent, but there's some people who, I think deserve a better opportunity. So, how would you like who do you think is going to, and when it's all said and done, they're going to be the one that people are going to say, God, that was a reach. That was an unnecessary ass reach that did not have to happen.
Maybe we can tie this into kind of the one last point we could talk about, which is I don't think it's crazy that the Lions end up going quarterback here. I don't think that it's crazy that happens. I could see a scenario where, or at least one of these teams drafts Malik Willis, falls in love with the upside, it doesn't work out, and then we look back saying like, yeah, you could have got a great player, and instead you drafted a guy who we knew had flaws on tape.
What quarterback you see him going?
Probably Malik Willis. Malik Willis is my quarterback one in this draft class. Again, it's a weaker class, but he's the one guy who I'm like, he at least has the upside. He has all of the physical tools. You just got to hope he can find a way to put it all together. There are clearly some issues on tape, but he's the one guy that I would probably put at number one.
All right. Now, what do you make of Dan Campbell saying he wanted a day one starter? And to me, I don't think, this is just me, I don't really care if they take Malik Willis if you're getting rid of Jared Goff, but I think everything they've done, adding DJ Shark, whatever his damn name is,
Shark,
bringing back Reynolds, they're probably going to keep Quintez. I feel like they're making an offense around Goff. I don't see like, to me that would be
hope not.
That's what they're doing. I don't know what the hell it is. What else would you call it? They literally kept the entire.
Well, they needed receivers. I mean, I liked what St. Brown did last year. I thought that he was kind of a pleasant surprise. But I had
him high as hell. I was stoked.
Okay, there you go.
He had a game against. Was it Arizona State? Who the hell was it? Anyway, he was blocking this cornerback, and he escorted him off the field. And I was like, "Yep, lock it in."
Okay, there you go.
Lock it in. I'm like, that's all I need to see. That's what they're looking for. They need somebody to run it. But to me, taking Malik Willis is a mistake because you're going to have him sit for at least a year or two. And if you say it's a year, okay, fine. But then you're going to have to now adjust the offense because you're not going to tell me that they're going to make an offense that is clearly going in the way of Jared Goff, all of a sudden now still work for Malik Willis.
I guess I'm a little confused. I feel like that's, if anything, the kind of offense I'd want around Malik Willis, right? It's this good offensive line who can run block. You want to use his running ability to your advantage, right? And especially for when he's young. We saw this with Jalen Hurts, right? Where Hurts has a lot of issues. He's not a complete quarterback. But one thing he can do really well is run. And that's how Philadelphia's kind of early on in his career, they've used his running ability to kind of raise his floor, I guess, and make him solid right from the start. And then his passing has started to develop as he's gotten more playing time. I think that's similar with Willis, where you use this great offensive line to have kind of a lot of option plays in the running game. And, I don't think the receiving core is stacked necessarily. So you don't necessarily need a stacked receiving core if you have that kind of defense kind of offense. So I actually think this is kind of a good fit and not that dissimilar from like what the Ravens had. And again, I'm not saying Willis is like Lamar Jackson, but like, because, even stylistically they're different, but there's some comparisons in the scheme that you might want to run with them.
Yeah. I don't care. He can run. I just don't.
Okay.
One of the things,
fair enough.
I was on a QB school. Shout out to my man JT O'Sullivan, former Detroit Lion quarterback, and he does great work over there. But he had all these years of Malik Willis, and he saw some things that I saw where I was like, "Is you gonna throw one pass before the receiver come out of his freaking break?"
Right.
Not one. I couldn't find one. It was like literally looking for a needle in a haystack. Then there was a few plays where I'm like, "Okay, dude, wide open, throw the ball."
Right.
Let it go.
He's too cautious with the ball several times.
And then when he's not cautious, it's where it pisses me off.
Right.
Because it's on downs and distance and situational football where it's like, why are you throwing it there?
Yeah.
What would be the reason to put the ball there? And then the other thing that really ticked me off was that there were multiple games with multiple plays where receivers were wide the hell open. He just took off.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I guess the thing about Luke Willis is the reason you're drafting him is because you expect him to be someone who he isn't today. You're expecting him to be someone who can make better decisions as he gets older. And you're basically saying, I'd rather have the guy who is flawed, but you can fix his flaws than someone like a Kenny Pickett who pretty much is who he is. There's not really a lot of ceiling with Kenny Pickett because his physical tools just aren't what Malik Willis's are. In fact, few players have the physical tools that Malik Willis does. It's very much a why the Bills drafted Josh Allen, right? The quarterback, obviously. You are getting someone who's physically talented and hoping you can develop him.
Let me ask you a question because I'm curious about this, and this is one I've been wanting to ask a lot of people because I'm curious. Why do you think he didn't work out at Auburn?
Why didn't Malik Willis work out at Auburn?
Yeah, why do you think he didn't work out?
I have no idea. You never know these things. I mean, is that a little concerning? Sure. I would also think back about, Joe Burrow not getting to start at Ohio State. Like, it does happen.
Now, this, I didn't even think about this. This from Bob O'Lane, who says, and when Willis makes a mistake, the next play, he always rush. I never even caught that pattern.
Yeah, I never noticed that either. Might be true.
But if that happens, okay.
But I mean, again, the thing about Willis is you're basically banking on if you can get a superstar quarterback, that's how you can be an immediate championship contender in the NFL is if you get that star quarterback. So you're risking a good amount. You're going to get a good player, you would think, at the number 2 overall pick. So you're risking a good player to potentially get a franchise changer. So that's the logic. For me, I still think I would probably go Sauce Gardner. I like the idea of just getting the good player, but I wouldn't be shocked. I think someone's going to draft him. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see him go into top 10 just because of the upside.
My man Drew says he didn't do well at Auburn because he couldn't beat out Bo Nix. Well, well, that's interesting. Steve O says, I hate when people act like Willis is a finished product. You don't think he's going to improve with NFL coaching? I've seen some people who I thought would improve with NFL coaching.
It's a gamble.
It's and I could be wrong about this. I feel like taking the gamble of a quarterback that high can set your franchise back further. And plus, I think that puts the clock on our general manager. If you take that quarterback and he ends up not being worth a damn, it ain't like you can trade him and get assets for him. It's just not the thing. He has to perform. And if he performs, great. The problem is, I think this fan base seems to think that, you can let him sit, and then from there you can go and do this, and this. And it's like, okay, cool. You can go and do this, and this. But our team is different from the other teams who set their quarterbacks. Like the Packers were mostly completed by the time Aaron Rodgers got there, and so was the Kansas City Chiefs. And when you look at people like the Bills, who just flat out was like, you know what, this guy's gonna have to play. This is how he's gonna learn. If you're not doing that with this guy here, I don't know who takes a person second overall and don't play him.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could play him, or you could. I mean, Jared Goff's going to be there next year. You're not going to cut him, have $41 million in dead cap, but you could still have Malik Willis play even with that. And again, I think the line. I guess here's the counter: is I get your point, and there's always the risk factor. The counter is at a certain point you're going to need a quarterback, whether it's going to be a solid quarterback who's cheap, or whether it's just going to be a superstar quarterback, or preferably both, like a superstar quarterback on a rookie deal. You're going to need a quarterback. And the way you get a quarterback is you draft a quarterback, or you make one of those big trades like the Stafford trade where Stafford says, I want to go to LA, trade me there. or like the Deshaun Watson thing, same thing. I want to go to Cleveland, trade me there. And then you still have to give up a ton of draft picks and pay a ton of money for that. The easiest way to, the reality is every team, their first question does have to start with quarterback. How are we going to get a good quarterback? And I think that if they don't get Malik Willis, I do think at 32, it makes sense to get one of those quarterbacks who will probably still be available. You can get a fifth-year option that way. We see that happen a good amount where 32 tends to get the fifth-year option. And you can have him compete with Jared Goff and hopefully get some playing time, if not be day one starter, at least like towards the back half of the season.
Yeah, I mean, for me, if he comes and he's going to play, fine. If he's not going to play, this team is not good enough to get quarterback to sit. That's just not it. Because at that point, they've already made investments for the betterment. They've already made, what's the word I want to use? They've already made investments for Jared Goff. Like, I'm convinced they've made for Jared Goff.
Okay, I mean, I think if I was the Lions and I was ready to move off of Jared Goff, I'd still be making the same moves. I'd still be trying to improve the offensive line and the receiving core regardless, because that's just how you win football games in general.
I honestly think, I could be wrong.
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree.
I honestly think that they love Jared Goff, and they're praying to God that he works out this year. And given some of the most recent history with, the Jacksonville Jaguars, with the Cardinals, and a few other teams who took quarterbacks high, forced their hand on those quarterbacks, and then end up picking high again. And now what we do with the quarterback.
But the Cardinals are kind of a great example, right? I mean, they drafted a quarterback top 10, Josh Rosen. It didn't work out, so they just went back to the well, drafted another quarterback, and it did work out. So that you have to take shots, right? Nobody knows anything, especially when it comes to quarterback. It's such a hard position to evaluate that the best odds of getting a good quarterback is by just drafting several quarterbacks until they hit is probably the preferred option, especially when you can get a pretty solid talent at 32. I think that would be a good move.
I saw this video years ago of Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning said they was asking him questions about, like, how do you evaluate a quarterback, or what do you look for if you was a coach? What things let you know what to look for? And he said, what is the quarterback doing in situational football? What is he, what decisions are he making in situational football? He was like, if you see a guy quarterback who's making good situational football decisions, great. He because everything else is not going to always be an indicator and stuff. I think Robert Griffin III started out real hot, and then he never learned how to slide. Kudos to Joe Burrow for figuring it out. You can make a whole Laugh Factory reel of Joe Burrow's first year trying to slide. It was the most terrible thing I ever seen in my life. But you have to be able to see certain little things. And for me, when I look at quarterbacks, it's the situational football. If they take them, fine. I've said it before. Whoever they take, I'm cool with. But I want people to keep that same energy. Do not change your name if it don't work out. I still ain't heard from the Kuda crowd, the shutdown corner crowd of the Lions fan base, who was like, you don't know what the hell you talking about. He's a shutdown corner. And I'm like, Donovan Peoples-Jones killed them for the whole game. And they refused to call a holding penalty.
Sure. So. No, listen, I don't think, Okudah was not a great pick. I think that, so who do you like then? What quarterbacks are you a fan of, or are none of them?
Right now, this year, I don't want them. I want so much focus on the defense that is disgusting. I went back and looked at a team who I respect, the Pittsburgh Steelers draft. They draft linebackers, safeties, DBs on a regular basis. They draft more defensive players than they do offensive players, and it's not even funny. If you go back and look at the last good 10, 15 years of their history, they love linebackers, safeties, and defensive players, and they will do it. Now, granted, they're not always picking high, and that one time that they traded up to get that pick for Ben Roethlisberger was the one time they did it. But even when they did that, they had like 2 or 3 freaking running backs, and they had a host of other people out there to help them out. To me, if I'm there, this draft is set up perfectly for the Lions. They don't got to do nothing. Let everything come to them. They want to take Aiden Hutchinson, you won't get it wrong. You want to take Kayvon Thibodeau, I wouldn't, but okay. You want to take Trayvon Walker? The trust levels would go down big time. You want to take Malik Willis? He gonna probably put himself on the damn clock to get fired. I wouldn't do it if I was him, but whatever. Whatever it is, you have all the power and the options, all of it, to do it now. And to me, this draft is designed for the Lions to have a quick turnaround if they do it right. Go out, get us some defensive players who can come in and have immediate impact.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think that this is if the Lions very well could come out of this with a lot of good players, and even like kind of their other needs are guys you could probably get in rounds, late in the round or the 32 and 34, and get some guys even later on in that. Like you get if you can get a good player number 2, you can still get safety if you don't go safety number 2. You can still get edge if you don't go edge number 2 later on. You can still get quarterback if you don't go quarterback number 2. So you're exactly right. This is a good draft for the Lions, and let's hope they don't screw it up like we've seen the Lions unfortunately do in the past.
And if fans really believe that they can develop quarterback talent, just wait till like the freaking 4th or 5th round and take Bailey Zappi or somebody. I mean, but golly, don't squeeze it just to squeeze it, because at that point now, I'm telling you, if whoever the player is, I don't care who it is. If you're telling me that a safety got to sit before they play, I don't want them. If the linebacker got to sit before they play, I don't want them. If I'm taking you 2 overall, that means you're ready for the NFL. I don't have anything to do other than to support that, and that's how I'm gonna go with it. Shout out to my man, the Dan Show. If you are a guy who likes to bet, and I do mean nobody bets more than Dan. Dan, I feel like if Dan could be outside and see 2 snails going down a leaf, and he's gonna probably see if he can get somebody to bet him on who's gonna get there first. But it's a great channel. Please show him some love and support. Check him out, Jackson. I think you would like it. He says, I'm really surprised with the 2 first-round picks in the 2023 draft that Lions fans want a quarterback this year. I know. I'm surprised too. It says, when drafting a quarterback in 2023 makes so much more sense.
But here's the thing is, so if Dan Campbell doesn't go quarterback here, like, I mean, I don't know how optimistic you are about the Lions' odds this year. I think the Lions aren't going to make the playoffs again this year. I think that this is a long rebuild. You're not one step away. So then next year, Dan Campbell, there's going to start to be some getting on the hot seat if you have back-to-back losing seasons. Then you have to nail the quarterback position then. You can't miss on the quarterback position then. Eventually, you're going to have to draft a quarterback unless you're paying Jared Goff $30 million a year is cool. But after this year, you can cut Jared Goff, only $10 million in dead cap, and you can, or trade him. But either way, you can get out of that contract next year, and then you can go solely to trying to get, a quarterback. You're going to have to draft a quarterback anyways. This way would at least give you 2 shots instead of 1. That's the logic.
Yeah, but at that point, you already know that at that point, you don't wait to the 2nd overall pick on the quarterback that you got to replace. That's like losing a couple $1 million in real time. But
if you like him, it just comes down to if you like him. I can see if you are someone who likes Malik Willis more than we do, I can get it. I can understand the logic.
Look, again, keep in mind, whoever the Lions take, I'm going to be excited for. Now, your team, you a fan of who?
Tampa Bay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. This is just a dumb question. This is just for the hell of it. Did Tom Brady have a super team?
Well, I guess how do you define super team, right? Because I always view super team in the basketball sense, where like a bunch of stars go to one player or one team. It was a good team. I guess how do you define super team?
I define a super team as a team who has literally players at every positional group that are really, really, really good. When I look, and I'm a Buccaneers fan myself. I know it seems strange as me being a Lions fan, but I'm also a Lions, Bucks, and Seahawks fan. Strange way. Mm-hmm. I don't know how the hell I end up liking 3 NFC teams, but I just did. So maybe I like the AFC. However, when I watch the Buccaneers, it always blew my mind how they had Antonio Brown as the fucking slot receiver. I'm like, how is this possible? They were receivers was dropping, and they never lost production in the receiving room. But the reason I asked that because Easy, my brother from another mother, who if you haven't checked this man channel out, oh my god, hilarious, fun, beautiful. He talks all type of sports, and then they have the Woodward Sports Heavyweights with him and Spencer. It's a joy to see. But he's like, Stafford had a super team. I was like, what? No, he didn't. Yeah, he did. I'm like, dude, no, he did not. Jared Goff had a super team. Stafford didn't even have a run game. His running back lost his damn leg basically with that Achilles injury. They really had nobody that can run the ball.
The Rams were really good. The Rams, they had incredible receiving core, great offensive line, incredible secondary.
Who's the receiving core that you said was incredible?
Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., Robert Woods.
Odell Beckham Jr. was being laughed at just a few months before he got there.
Sure, but he played well when he was there.
Yeah, but everybody usually played well under Stafford. I mean, that's not fair.
Okay, I mean, listen, I don't know if you want to say whatever. Okay, I like.
I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun with you, man.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I don't even. I think that, like, I mean, by that logic, I guess, you know, you could argue that Stafford's the whole reason for Cooper Kupp playing as well as he did, all that stuff.
No, I mean, look, I just find the whole super team thing, it's comical to me. I just be like, I'm like, nobody would have called that a super team. If Stafford wasn't on that team and any other quarterback, if that was like Nick Foles, nobody would have said Nick Foles had a super team. That would have never come out nobody's mouth.
Like, yeah, well, I mean, it probably came. I mean, I think every people say super team about every team that wins a Super Bowl just because it's that's how people are. I think that you need good teams to win Super Bowls, right? Like, you're not going to win a Super Bowl just by a quarterback alone. We saw Matthew Stafford be a prime example of that with all the years in Detroit and then going to LA.
Well, he got shitted on in Detroit. I mean, I think he had 1 year of a rushing attack, and that don't even count because I feel like he limped his way to that 1,000 yards in Reggie Bush. Like, it was crazy. But I don't want to keep you too much longer. This is going to be more of a shorter show because I have to go and play with my kids. I did promise him that we was going to play Hungry Hippos, and I'm probably going to lose because I suck at that game. So,
how do you suck at Hungry Hippos?
Okay, so let me just tell you. One, I've come to the conclusion that when your hands are now bigger than the freaking game was, back in the day, the game was much more well built. Okay. Now they built it trash. And the smaller your hand is, when you slap it, it do what it's supposed to. But when my big hand slap it, the damn hippo head just stay out. It gets stuck.
Gotcha. All right. Well, maybe you won't be getting a Hungry Hippo sponsorship anytime soon.
I mean, but Hasbro, y'all do got Guess Who, and that's my game, Hasbro.
Okay, there you go.
Don't cheat me. Give the people the final thought. I'm pretty sure everybody here know how to find you. Everyone knows that a competent rushing attack means the quarterback is better. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But give the people, your final thoughts of the day, and make sure you pull up the channel, which I'm sure everybody knows about the channel. And hopefully it's not a year again before we get back on. I know. Are you going live for the draft? Are you or not?
No, for the draft, I do what I typically do, which is I kind of, again, if you're talking about getting videos out quickly, typically I try to get a video out I make film studies. I've been doing that all, this month, basically, of preloading these film studies, and then I'll upload those as the players get selected, along with recording my thoughts on the scheme fit and them going through the team and everything. So there'll be probably, 30-ish videos getting posted on draft night on my channel. So if you want to see, I'll make one about whatever, however many picks the Lions end up having in round one. I'll be making videos about each of those. So check that out.
We got 8 now. We lost one. Apparently a clerical error.
Okay.
A clerical error did us in. But we'll get it. And tell them how to get to the channel. Even though it's linked in the description and it's also everywhere. I got it plastered all on the damn screen. So
yeah, just Jackson Kruger Sports on YouTube. Just search that in. It'll come up.
Hey, I get it. Dan Spano says, "Man, control them smacks. Man, I've tried. It's just it's just not working, bro. They not building these games like they even operation, bro. Is not the same. We got something with a dog, and I got to make it go through his colon out his ass. It's not the same.
Gotcha.
Just saying. All right, good people. Let me give y'all my final thought of the day. Again, this is going to be a shorter show. I don't want to keep them too much longer. So want to get them up out of here, but y'all know me. I can't end the show on a nothing more than a positive note. Today's positive quote comes from me. You're operating in fear. You are operating in fear. This is funny because I find some things to be strange. It's funny how people operate in fear on a daily basis and don't even realize that if they just move, that whatever they fear can be conquered. Operating in fear does a number of things. It slows you down from making risks, from taking decisions and doing things that you want. If it's a pretty girl that you want to talk to, take your shot. It's only 2 answers, yes or no. You will live. You will survive. If there's a new job you want, go and apply to it. If you're not feeling like you get enough money, then go to your boss and tell them I need a raise or I need another position that's better suited for my skill set. Whatever it is, do not operate in fear. Toss fear to the wind and let it be carried away. Because anytime you fear anything, it will only hold you back. It will stop you from finding what makes you special, what makes you the difference and things that can be changed in this world. Somebody had to be afraid to try to get themselves in the sky to fly. There was somebody who got tired of walking and the bike that they made wasn't working, so the car became the next best bet. Somebody got tired of sweeping goddamn dirt and decided, what if something sucked it up for me? Fear is what creates greatness. And when you can find ways to push past fear, you can find ways to push past anything. So before you make a decision and say, oh, I'm not so sure, I'm scared, tell yourself that, hey, I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway. Because fear is nothing more than an obstacle in your way. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. Please check out my man's Jackson, Kruger Sports. I'm sure it would not be a year. Hopefully it will not. I know he is always super busy. But again, it should not be a year. Sorry it took us so long to get this done. And as always, don't be no chump. Please do your research. We are out.